This feeling, we want it. The good life, I started. No reason to flaunt it. Just show me you got it.
Okay. Some people don't know how you got into throwing picks. You are known as the guitar pick guy. Ever since my first show, that's the first thing I was told.
In 1979, I was at Chicago Fest, Mary Jane Burns' Chicago Fest at Grand Park. Cheap Trick was playing, and Rick Nielsen kept throwing guitar picks. And I was like, what's that guy throwing? And every time he'd throw it, I was like, watch seeing all these people react. Like, they're like, oh my God, I got this pick. And I'm like, why are they all reacting to this guy throwing them? What is he throwing? And I see all of them line up on the mic stand, and then I'd be like, huh. And it always stuck with me when I was 9 years old. Fast forward 15 years later, whatever, 10 years later, I don't know where we were at. We were playing, and I started throwing guitar picks, and people started freaking out. At first, Nick and I started having, like, playing fun, like, you know, he'd be on the side of the stage at, like, the Gateway or some big stage or the Vic Theater, and I throw the pick, and then he'd catch it, and then, you know, we just have our own little show that we're just totally just goofing off. I mean, there's really no other way to do it. And then people started reacting, and as they would react, I was like, this is pretty funny. And as I started throwing them, I was extremely accurate with my throw. And what's crazy about that is I'm not good at baseball, the pitching. I'm good at baseball, but not at pitching. I'm not good at basketball in terms of making a shot. I can't make a shot. Like, everybody in the world is better than me at making shots at basketball. Like, that's how bad I am at shooting baskets. Like, absolute worst. And so I would throw these picks, and I was extremely accurate with it. And I'm very, very accurate with picks. So I don't even know. I mean, I would say, and I'll tell you, I'll show you something crazy. I think I have it on my phone.
The video?
No. So I'm pretty sure I have it on my phone. So it's kind of funny because Rick Nielsen,
Just checking. Make sure I press record.
is the one who did that, and there's a picture with me and Rick holding the guitar pick together.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, cool.
In fact, I'll show it to the, maybe if the camera can see that. You tell me if you can see that. So that's Rick and I. And that's kind of funny because we played with Cheap Trick a couple of years ago, and while we're playing with Cheap Trick, it's raining. It's pouring rain at Taste of Joliet, and I feel somebody throwing picks at me from behind. I'm like, who's throwing picks at me? Who's whipping picks at me? And I'm like, it's Rick Nielsen. I'm like, so I start whipping it back at Rick. We're playing catch, Rick and I, and I'm like, this is your fault.
Come full circle.
And it is very full circle. And I remember getting back into the thing, and Robin Zander and Rick Nielsen are there, and they're like, is it really bad with the rain? I go, oh yeah, it's brutal. It just whips you in the face unapologetically. Boom! And they're like, okay, yeah, rock on, that's cool. I'm like, oh yeah, we're good, let's go. I remember Mike going, my drums are getting wet. I go, don't worry about it. If they get destroyed, I'll buy you another set. Let's go do this thing.
You're playing with Cheap Trick.
We're playing with Cheap Trick in front of, like, you know, tens of thousands of people.
Nothing else matters.
It's rock and roll.
Yes, that's awesome.
So that's how I got into picks.
Okay, if you could offer just one piece of advice to a new musician, what would it be?
I think it applies to anything you do in life. It's effort. You put forth an effort. I think no matter what you do in life, whether it's a musician or whether you're going to be a realtor or you're going to be a graphic designer or you're going to be a plumber or whatever you're going to do in life, a baker, it's effort. If you put forth a good effort, you're halfway there to be successful. The other half of skills you'll acquire over time, and you'll learn skills. I still am trying to acquire more skills. I don't think I'll ever stop trying to get better at something, learn something from somebody. And you would think like, oh, you've done a lot of stuff, you know a lot. Yeah, but we have people work for the crew that are kids anywhere between 14 to 18 for the summer. And I treat them equally as somebody that's an adult or somebody my age. I'm 50. And I listen to what they have to say, because sometimes they might see something or have an idea that I didn't think of. And so I can learn from them. And I think when you assemble a team of people, you can learn from each other. And so effort is so critical, because you can have all the skill set in the world, but if you don't put forth a good effort, then you're not going to be successful at what you're doing. So you have to care. And most people, I see a lot of people do jobs they don't care, and then they're not happy about the outcomes. And I'm like, it's because your effort was not where it should have been. No matter what you do in life, I don't care what you do. That's halfway there to be successful, caring in your effort, you know. That's my 2 cents on that one.
So what musician or artist did influence you to get to where you are today?
Let's see. There's many. I think we all get influenced by people. I mean, I think when we ride the train of life together, you're getting influenced by people all the time. For me, I remember seeing Don Kirshner's rock concert, and it was a TV show that he would play these clips of bands, and he played Def Leppard on the High and Dry record. He played Let It Go, Saturday Night High and Dry, and Bring On the Heartbreak. And they just played these 3 videos, and I was just amazed on how well the band sounded, how much energy they had. They moved around. They weren't just staring at their guitars. And I was like, wow, this band rocks out, you know. And so so then all of a sudden I remember, and ironically, that was impacting to me. It came full circle a little bit more, a couple times. Like, I guess I wouldn't say full. It went a quarter circle, another half circle. I saw when the cable guy came in to install TCI cable in our neighborhood. Was the new cable that you're going to get. And he's like, you're going to have MTV. And I'm like, what the hell's MTV? And he's like, it's music television. And he had just installed it. The installer just left. My mom was just making dinner and calls up for dinner. And all of a sudden, I turned on that channel, and Photograph came on by Def Leppard. And I went, I have to play guitar in a band. This just has to happen. I already kind of wanted to do that, but that solidified it for me. And I was like, that's it. The rest of my life, I'm playing guitar. I was just so blown away by how good the band. Mutt Lange was the producer, and he did such a good job of producing the band and captivating the strengths of the band, hiding the weaknesses of the band. And I've always carried that over into Seventh Heaven. Same thing, exemplifying our strengths and hiding weaknesses. I think a good producer, a good manager, a good coach does that when you assemble a team of people. And I was just really into seeing that, you know, like that big, huge show kind of thing. Then Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen was a huge inspiration to me. I just couldn't believe how awesome of a guitar player he was, and how many different things he made the guitar sound so many different ways. And he really showed me as a guitar player, you can do more than what you're doing. I liked Led Zeppelin, Queen, Journey. I mean, I liked a lot of these bands that had, where they sounded bigger than they were. AC/DC, Rush, Scorpions, a lot of these bands. And then I started getting into, after getting through the rock phase, I started getting into the song phase. So I started liking Rick Springfield, and I couldn't believe how many songs he had that were not in mass media heard, but they were great songs. I was like, Dan Reed Network, without a doubt, one of my favorite bands is Dan Reed Network. In fact, I'll tell you a crazy story. This is one of the biggest inspiration bands I had, was Dan Reed Network. And I had written to the keyboard player, Blake, a few times about asking him about tones that he used on certain songs. I was like what do you use on that song? You know, the sound. He's very influential to me on keyboards, even though I'm not a great keyboard player. And I'm a good programmer, but not a great keyboard player. And we went back and forth a couple times. I released, during this pandemic that we're in, I released one of those concert videos that, full concerts. And he just writes me back, because your band rocks. He goes, I love your band. He goes, I play in another band, and we watch your medleys, and we wonder. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like that's crazy. And it's very surreal to me to play in Bon Jovi, to play with Bon Jovi, play with Journey, play with Def Leppard, play with Styx, play with Foreigner, play with Rick Springfield, play with these bands or interact with some of these bands, and for them to even know who our band is or us to play with them is so crazy to me, you know. REO Speedwagon, I mean, like some of these bands, I grew up like, you know, I went to the Bookmobile and got their record, and I would spin it and be like, this is the greatest thing ever. And it really, music has always been so important to me. Like, it's such a great you know, all what we see now with argument on politics and TV. I've been listening to music, and it's so awesome to escape. It's a healthy form of escapism. And I just like the way you feel from a song, you know. You can have all these emotions from the song of excitement, adrenaline, sadness, sorrow, thought, everything. We identify music with, I call it the journey. It's like a journey of your life, you know, your soundtrack of your life. I mean, it's a journey of everything you've done, you know. You play a song like, I remember just getting my car. I remember, you know, dating this person. I remember breaking up with this person. I remember a family member died. I remember feeling great. My team won something, and so I don't know. There's
a song for a certain part of
and so music. So being inspired, you know, I've been inspired by so much music. I remember, and all across the board. I remember being in Las Vegas and being at the Cirque du Soleil Mystere, and they have a song called Calimando, and I was blown away. I literally was almost brought to tears because in the environment, I was like, oh my gosh, this is an unbelievable song. And if you ever hear the version of it live, it's unbelievable. Like, it's just one of those moments where I'm like, holy cow. But I also get that same feeling when I first heard Rage Against the Machine. I was at the Smart Bar, and all of a sudden, Killing in the Name of comes on. I knew nobody had ever played it. And all of a sudden, you know, they're playing Killing in the Name. The whole place is going crazy, and I'm like, oh my God, look at the energy of this song. I get goosebumps, and so I go over to the DJ. I'm like, what are you playing right now? What are you playing, you know? And I love that about music. I love when it invokes an emotion that makes you, it impacts your emotion. And that is a goal I think you have as a songwriter and as a producer. For me, when I write a song and I'm writing something with somebody with Seventh Heaven, when I get the song in the studio and I track all the parts and I got the thing and I'm mixing, all of a sudden there's this like turning point where the energy comes, and I almost get almost like having tears of joy and of happiness, because I know that I've gotten the song to that emotion. And if I can get that emotion after hearing it 1,000 times, I'm hoping that now it's transcending and I've got the mix to where I want, and hopefully somebody else goes, wow, that's amazing. So that's why I want to write a lot of songs. I mean, I've written over 5,000 songs and only over 1,000 for Seventh Heaven because of that. And that's because from being influenced from more than just, some people are like, I'm just influenced on guitar. For me, it's a combination of influence. It's influence as a guitar player, as a songwriter, as a producer, as a manager, and as a business person. So for me, when you ask me what influences me, it's multi-level things that do that, because that's what I have to do. I have to, you know, from, like I said, even a keyboard player. I'm not a keyboard player, but we have keyboards on our songs. So I have to have various influences. It's not, I can't just sum it up with one thing, because all of those things embody who I am with what I do within Seventh Heaven.
Okay. Good answer.
Yeah.
So, what is musical success to you? What does that mean?
Music success is happiness.
Is happiness?
Happiness.
Okay.
What you love to do and you're getting joy and happiness out of that, because that's invaluable. Happiness has no price. Happiness has no stature. Happiness doesn't have anything. If you're happy, nobody can take that away from you. It's your happiness. It's where you are. You're planted in that. So when you talk about success, it's subjective. To some people will look at Seventh Heaven and say, wow, that band's very successful for all what it brings and what it does and other people say the band is not successful because it has never made it. And their definition of making it is that you're touring the world and singing on. Sure. And we have actually toured nationally, and we are known internationally. I've made the choice to keep Seventh Heaven locally, and mostly because of my sons. You know, once before having sons, we toured all the time, and I'd rather see my kids grow up and be a father and have music. Yes. And so to me, that's important to me. So that is happiness. The happiness I have with my children, happiness with the band. And I'm lucky to be around 4 other guys that share that same kind of happiness, joy of what we're doing, and that they're content with what we have as a team. And not only the 4 other guys in the band, but the other layers of the crew and the people that are around us, the merch crew and everybody else that's around the team. And I think having a good vision and a plan, and then fulfilling that vision, and you know, when you have a business strategy and you're fulfilling it, that's rewarding. And when you have a sense of accomplishment, the accomplishment never gets away from you. So the band can be popular, cannot be not popular, but if you've accomplished something, it stays with you forever. It doesn't leave you. You know, money can leave you, popularity can leave you, but your accomplishments stay with you forever. And then that brings you happiness because you're fulfilled that you achieved the goal that you have. So that's worth everything to me. That's what it is.
What's your favorite Seventh Heaven song? Not so simple? Or if not, you can't think of one of the last 3 CDs. One from each CD.
The Adam era.
That's tough. I mean, I like them all in different ways. That's a very tough question.
It's like
I go through different modes of how I feel. If I'm feeling like I want to groove, I like a certain song. If I'm feeling I want to jump around and have energy, that's a different song. In the environments, I like certain songs.
As of right now, in this current moment, what are your favorite songs? How you're feeling right now?
I couldn't answer that.
No, okay.
I don't know. No, because I like them all together. Like when you write as much as I do, it's hard to dwell on one. You see them. Think of it like this. I'll use a great analogy. It's like asking somebody when you draw a picture, and the picture is very broad in colors, to ask you what's your favorite color in that picture. All the colors make up that picture. So it's very hard for me to pick one.
It's like a parent choosing their favorite child.
Yeah, I would never do that. Yeah, I couldn't do that. I don't know. Different days I like certain songs. I mean, sometimes and I think the guys in the band are the same. We all kind of sometimes we're in the mood to play this one song, and sometimes you're sick of that song. It doesn't mean you don't like it.
Cellophane.
You know.
Stop it.
So it's
not played all the time.
It just depends on. Depends on the song. I mean, it's just depends. You know. I mean, I don't know. I love writing songs. Like, I'm into the new record, like what we've got, but we're still not done tracking the parts. You know. Okay. Nick and I still have more vocals to put on, but yeah, and I like that. I just like writing songs. It's fun. So cool to see the creative process from the idea, and you feel good about that. Then it goes to I write this music bed, and then it goes to Adam. Adam makes some modifications, programs the drums because he's a drummer. I'm not a drummer, and then he adds lyrics to it, and then and some melodies. We go back and forth, sends it back to me. Then it goes to Nick and I. We're tracking all these vocals, and then you get it mixed, and you get to a certain point. Then you put it out there, and people either accept it or they don't, and then you see them start singing the song back with you, and the hook caught, you know. And then then it goes on radio, that's even crazier, you know. And then you go shopping, and then you hear it played over the store. You hear it in a TV show or a commercial, and you're like, that's crazy. I saw, you know, when somebody's like, you guys were just on TV, and we signed a publishing agreement. Adam and I did for some of the later songs. When Adam joined the band, the songs that I wrote with Adam and I agreed that we're just like, to this publishing company, just use them as you wish, as long as it's not something bad, you know, it's some bad way. I'm like, yeah, go ahead, use it. And so we don't know all the time when it gets aired. Sometimes you're just like, oh, that's crazy, there it is, you know. And I think that's a pretty cool thing to see that full circle. Then people want to hear the song, and it's awesome feeling. I mean, it's crazy. Like, it's a very addictive. It's such a healthy form of goal setting, and seeing a dream come true is crazy. You know, I wish more people trusted the vision of something they wanted to do and didn't just go, I need a job to get money, and they only looked at just money, and then saw that through to a point. Because it's very rewarding and fulfilling to accomplish your goals. I can't begin to tell you, like, most of the time when I talk to people and they seem to be circumstantially depressed about a situation, it's usually because they're not focused on accomplishing a goal to fulfill their happiness, which goes back to what you asked me. What is music, you know? Like, I just think it's awesome. I'm as much of a groupie as I am a performer.
Okay. I think this next album, the feedback is going to be so much greater because we've been waiting, 2 years now? Because of the lack of summer fest season, and when you guys usually bring out the new album. Right.
So that's interesting, because something that most people don't know about Seventh Heaven is we're very methodical about our business strategy. We purposely come out with records at May and June because that's when we're going to go promote them to the most amount of people. So if we release the record in January, by the time we get to June, July, and August, it's old news, or that's an old record. But if the excitement is there in the summer and we just started playing those new songs, we just released the product, we can try to type that excitement and get the radio station to spin a track or two. And then we try to go on television and play one of them on we have to get up early, that sucks. This one I'm like, thank God I'm not the singer. This is me driving on the way to, like, you know, ABC. Thank God I'm not the singer. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord I just got to sing some backups. I'm like, oh my God.
As Adam's probably doing warm-ups in his
car. I'm always funny when we get there. I'm like, where's the donuts? Where's the donuts? Where's the donuts? Yeah, I mean, writing a record, I mean, if we released it now, by the time we would get to summer, nobody would care about the record. And then it's not like we're trying to make millions of dollars. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to at least cover the manufacturing cost of the record and know that we got the music out there. And then, you know, that's, and it's getting harder and harder to do that because people don't have CDs. So it's like we're at this crossroads where you go, okay, I can do them in the USB stick, we can do them digitally, and then we could do them on a record. I can tell you a lot of people have chosen streaming. I could tell you as an artist that well, that's convenient for the consumer. It's not friendly to the songwriter and band to have streaming. We want you to own the product. You know, yes, you still get paid on streaming, but the whole point of music is to deliver it so you own it, so you're listening to it all the time. That's why I let people listen to our music on the jukebox on the Seventh Heaven page. You can listen to a week straight of music and not hear the same song for a week straight on our seventhheavenband.com music page in that little player. Yeah, everything that we have, you can listen to it in its entirety, you know. And
or you can buy it.
It'd be better if people purchase it, because that just helps us. It's like I said, we're bands today. Even if you're Madonna or Bon Jovi, it's really not. The music business is so different than what it was back in the day. You would sell millions and millions of records. Today, even the biggest artists in the world don't necessarily sell millions and millions and millions of records. They're just they want their songs out there. And records used to be a way for a artist to send you like a embodiment of where they're at as an artist. It's interesting producing and managing bands, and specifically producing, because bands are always critical upon themselves. And I always say, understand that we are always a work in motion and releasing a snapshot of a time of a work in motion. So this is what we wrote this year. These are the songs we wrote. That's it. And sometimes there might be some gems in that, you know. And never be, don't be afraid to evolve and keep writing and doing that. I love watching people, bands keep writing. I think the only criticisms I've had on some of the bands, I wish some of the bands stayed true to their roots. When the grunge era hit, a lot of the rock hair bands decided, well, we got to toughen up and become a grunge band. I really think they should have stayed the course and stuck to what people wanted from the band that they had, the sound that they liked. Yes. You know, when you went to hear the Eagles, you heard the Eagles. You didn't hear Eagles now trying to sound like Nirvana. And I think Aerosmith was one of the only bands that stuck true to their style. You know, Def Leppard did a grunge thing, Poison did one, Motley Crue did one. I mean, you go down the list. Bon Jovi did one. I mean, they were all like doing these, trying to be tough and rough. And sometimes I think you let the bands who are tough and rough be tough and rough. Be what you are and stick to that. With Seventh Heaven, I produced Seventh Heaven with a semblance of an 80s production with a current flair, and I balanced the two. I purposely make the band have some elements of it that sound like it's from the 80s on purpose. Big verb on the layered stacked vocals, delays, certain keyboard patches, a lot of layers of guitar, because that's, if we're going to be playing a 70s and 80s medley and people like that part of us, well then I want to make sure that our originals kind of are in the same ecosystem sonically. And they kind of match. We sound like an arena rock band. We're an album-orientated rock band. We're a modern rock pop band, you know. And I want to be in two different ecosystems, you know. So this is kind of how I produce it. So it's very methodically planned, you know.
So thanks for joining us this week. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Go to Big Sammy's. Get a cheeseburger and the cheese logs.
Something I think I need to say. Wherever you go is where I